Just be nice. A fine sentiment and all, but one better suited to the playground or office politics than the bathroom debate. Those who try to argue for the inclusion of trans identified males in female bathrooms, a tired debate at this point, often resort to some form of this sentiment. They just want to pee. If you see someone in the bathroom who you think doesn't belong, just be nice. Don't say anything that might hurt their feelings. Those who say these things, I have to wonder, are they naive or just plain old stupid?
Who at 17 sexually assaulted child in Palmdale Denny's bathroom. This just happened. 42-year-old transgender dressed as a schoolgirl arrested after taking photos of girls in school restroom. A transgender sentenced to 7 years for raping female prisoner. It was a man who raped a female. This article is calling this predator, this man, by his preferred pronouns, but he assaulted a 10-year-old girl in the supermarket bathroom. Here we have a drag queen, because I know y'all like to say that they don't ever do anything, charged with 25 counts of felony child sexual abuse material. Here was another drag queen that they hired for story time, and they didn't know about his past because, I don't know, maybe child predators like to dress up sexually in front of children. Weird. These are just a few examples because y'all say that it never, ever, ever happens. Never.
Starting in elementary school, we are warned to be cautious of other people because you can't always tell who is going to do you harm. Don't accept candy from strangers. Don't accept a ride from someone you don't know. Be suspicious of offers of kindness or requests for help from people you don't know. These teachings are not unwarranted.
The killer couple, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley, the Moors murderers. In Manchester of July 1963 and October 1965, Ian Brady and Myra Hindley committed the Moors murders. These were of children aged 10 to 17. Let's start when Hindley met Brady. In January of 1961, 18-year-old Hindley started a job as a typist. There at this job, she met Brady and she became obsessed. She started writing in her diary about how obsessed she was. And on the 22nd of December of that year, Brady asked her to go on a date with him to the cinema. And they carried on dating and made it official. The couple were very regular at the library and they borrowed books on philosophy, crime, and torture. In 1963, Hindley passed her driving test. She hired a van and Brady decided, let's go and do some bank robberies. I don't actually think they did any bank robberies though, I think it was just a dream of them to do it. And Hindley started going to pistol clubs and she was described there as bad-tempered and unstable. But she did manage to purchase some guns while she was there. In July of 1963, Brady began talking about wanting to commit the perfect murder. Brady moved into Hindley's grandmother's house and they started living together, and that is when the killings started. The two of them committed their first murder, 16-year-old Pauline Reed. Hindley was driving around in a borrowed van, and behind her on his motorcycle was Brady, and he spotted his perfect victim. They got Reed into the van and Hindley asked Reed if she wanted to go and help her look for an expensive glove on the moor. And Reed said yeah, she was willing to help. So Brady took Reed out to the moors and Hindley stayed in the van. Brady returned to the van about 30 minutes later. And he took Hindley to the spot where he'd murdered her and they buried her body. Reed had unfortunately been decapitated. Later on, when Hindley and Brady were asked if Brady had SA'd her, Brady replied, "Of course I did." Brady said that Hindley was not there for the attack, but she did participate in the SA. Stay tuned for part 2, it's literally coming now.
The Moors murders, committed by Brady and Myra Hindley between July 1963 and October 1965 in and around Manchester, England, primarily relied on their victims being nice. Out of the 5 children that they kidnapped and murdered, the common thread was asking for help. 3 of the victims were asked to help find a lost expensive glove, while a 4th was asked to help carry packages to their car. Perhaps the most well-known example of niceness being used to victimize an individual can be seen in Ted Bundy, who would prey on those women with a ruse, often wearing his arm in a sling or his leg in a fake cast and walking on crutches. He would then use his charm and fake disability to convince his victims to help him carry books or unload objects from his car. He was also known to impersonate authority figures, such as police officers and firefighters, to gain victims' trust before he attacked. Of course, predators using the niceness of their others to their benefit is not just a thing of the past.
Absolutely horrifying story, every single parent's worst nightmare. The judge here describing these crimes as a nauseating in its level of depravity, wicked and predatory. This was a case that centres on the Scottish borders, involving a man called Andrew Miller, who one evening in February was caught on CCTV driving along a street in one of those Scottish towns where a young girl was making her way home from a friend's house that evening. And at that stage she described being freezing, her phone had run out of battery, and Andrew Miller pulled up at the side of the pavement, wound down the window and asked if this girl wanted a lift home. Andrew Miller, who's also known as Amy George, the court heard, is transitioning from male to female, then allowed this girl to get inside this car, lured her in, and the court heard the girl took advantage of that because she thought she was getting into the car of a woman. What then happened over the following 27 hours was utterly horrifying in its nature, some of which we can't even go into for taste and decency. He locked her in his bedroom and repeatedly sexually abused her over a period of more than 24 hours. She only managed to escape when he fell asleep, and she ran out of that bedroom where she had been locked for that period of time and phoned 999. Her fear was palpable when police turned up at that property. It has been a crime that has shocked this country, has shocked that local community, and today Andrew Miller, Amy George, who will serve his sentence in a male prison, will spend 20 years at least behind bars.
The concept of stranger danger is in part built on a few high-profile cases, and a desire to overlook how common assault, rape, and kidnapping are by those you already know. After all, only 25% of kids are taken by strangers. The amount of rapes committed by strangers is somewhat difficult to discern, as rape is a crime that is often not reported, and when the perpetrators are strangers, rapes go unreported 54% of the time. But the literature reports rape by strangers to account for 10% of all rapes. However, just because a larger amount of abuse occurs from people who you know, in homes and private places, doesn't mean that one shouldn't be mindful of mitigating risk outside the home. After all, there are plenty of examples of harm occurring in public bathrooms.
No! Fuck the fuck! You watch me take shit! These motherfuckers are shit!
You see? I should punch you in your fucking face.
I'm ready to shut! No, get ready to shut!
You dead ass? You dead ass? You
Where that
dead
is?
ass? In the fucking bathroom?
I run this shit!
You in the fucking you don't run shit!
Let me make sure nobody in here. Hello? See? There go man. There goes man. There's a man. See what I'm saying? There's a man. You know this is the women's bathroom, right? Sorry. That's the women's bathroom. A man in the women's bathroom. That's why you gotta go in here with your kids. Let me make sure nobody else has.
The discomfort and fear that women and girls fear when a male intrudes on their space should not be ignored in favor of being nice. Fear is a valuable emotion that can help to steer away from dangerous situations and preserve life and safety. As Gavin DeBaker writes in The Gift of Fear, only human beings can look directly at something, have all the information they need to make an accurate prediction, perhaps even momentarily make the accurate prediction, and then say it isn't so.
Sir, I do not think you could do that. I don't think you could do that.
Do what?
Pee with the door open. I mean, yeah, you're in the women's bathroom, but at least close the door.
My
book bag kept the door.
I get it, but that's like kind of inappropriate, no? Don't you think?
I mean, I'm not turning around.
I know, but it's just a little inappropriate. You could use the bathroom, just close the door.
Is there a guy here?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, please.
What? What?
We shouldn't ignore the fear we feel when private spaces are intruded upon. Sure, they may be there just to pee. Maybe they do just want to check their makeup. But how can we know from a glance the difference between a trans woman who just wants to pee and a sexual degenerate looking for a new victim? It doesn't have to be rape. It can be voyeurism. It can be quietly getting off on the submission of the others in the room, or the noises of women relieving themselves, or the knowledge that they are crossing a boundary and getting away with it. So, no, we are not just going to be nice. Just being nice would have allowed 52-year-old Darren Marriger to have gotten away with indecent exposure in front of women and girls at WeSpa, despite having been a registered sex offender since 2006 and having a previous history of indecent exposure charges. After all, how can anyone determine his gender identity? The employees certainly couldn't, and as a result couldn't tell him not to use the women's section. It was up to the women involved to be outraged, to be angry, and to be mean to get anything to change. Just being nice is how we got where we are today, where self-ID has allowed men to be housed in women's prisons, where denying a man access to women's baths, bathrooms, or sports is illegal as long as he identifies as a female. Just being nice was where we started, but the thing about nice is that it can easily become a synonym for easily taken advantage of. And aren't we? As Baker notes, we must learn and then teach our children that niceness does not equal goodness. Niceness is a decision, a strategy of social interaction. It is not a character trait. People seeking to control others almost always present the image of a nice person in the beginning. Like rapport building, charm, and the deceptive smile, unsolicited niceness often has a discoverable motive.
Who claims he is a woman. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and only ladies and gentlemen it is and shall always be. I am an 18-year-old high school student and wanted to take this time to bring to your attention the current issue with biological men claiming they are women and in turn truly believing that they are entitled to use women's spaces. There was an incident within our district that occurred recently regarding a transgender woman who really is a biological man having an altercation with a young woman at MLK High School. It was infuriating when I had seen the video on social media, but what was detrimental to this is the fact that this man is and has been using the women's restroom and locker room. Firstly, the question we must address is why are we affirming the mental confusion of this boy and putting the safety of women in jeopardy by allowing mentally confused men to use the women's spaces? Of course, any male who claims he is a woman will accept it, but what about the women? What about the true girls like myself who are female down to our DNA? Why don't we ever get a say in whether or not we are comfortable with this? The truth is, we aren't. The majority of us aren't, and yet nothing has been done to protect the safety of these women. I will conclude with this. It all starts with you. You are in charge of the safety of us women and the kids of our parents. So please do something about it. Thank you.
This, dear viewers, is where we part. This came to me because I've been asked a lot in the comment section of various videos, why can't you just be nice? Why can't you just let it go? I can't, there's the reason why I can't be nice is because being nice means having no boundaries. Being nice means not being willing to stand up for what you believe in. Being nice just means you can easily be pushed aside. I am nice. I am perfectly nice. I had never called any trans person on my channel a slur. I have never wished anyone death or given claims of violence. I've never done anything like that. That's what being nice is. Those are the boundaries that I hold that the trans rights activists don't often. They're willing to call out rape threats, to wish violence on those who they oppose. I am being nice, but I'm not willing to let my boundaries go. I'm not willing to let you into private spaces. I'm not willing to be victimized to make you feel better. I'm not willing to become a victim to make you feel valid in your identity, because you know, even in the back of your mind, you know that it's not real. If you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, let me know in the comment section down below. And if you made it this far, the code word is gingerbread cookies. Comment it below. Bye!